Hello and welcome to Code Smash. Today we will start our series of Unity tutorials. First we will start doing Unity2D and then we will do Unity3D. For the link of downloading Unity tutorial, go to the link below given in the comment section or the description section of the video. So when you install it and run Unity, it will appear something like this. So you go to File and go to New Project. So now you name your new project here, like we're going to name it Test Project. And these are some packages that we will talk about later. For now, let's just set default settings to 2D, and as we are going to learn 2D, and then we will go to 3D. So let's hit 2D and just hit Create. So now Unity is creating a new 2D based project named Test Project. Now this is our scene 1 or the scene 0, the main starting scene. So now let's just discuss something about Unity, some features of it. Now in the hierarchy there are 3 basic windows. The first one is this, the hierarchy window. In this window you have the basic objects, the basic game objects. Everything in Unity, every object that you see in a game in Unity will be called as a game object. So all of those will be placed here. Now as a start in a scene, there is only one game object called main camera. Now when you click any object, as I have clicked main camera, you can see there are some properties of that game object shown here. Now these properties are shown in a window called Inspector. So you can see it is showing the name of the game object and its position and its rotation and scale and other things that we will discuss later. Now in the center here is the game window, and if you click there, it is the scene window. The scene window is for the developer, that how we are going to move this camera up and down, and you can see as I'm moving it, the X coordinate is changing, making it value change. And if I go to the game, it will show you how will you see it in the actual game, the preview of the camera. Keep this in mind that in the game window we will always get the preview of the main camera or the camera, and in the scene window we have the game objects shown, and we can change their position and change all the other stuff. So that's about it. And in the below window there, these are some assets. Assets are basically the folders and the things that build up or make up your game. So we will discuss that as we go on. So let's just first start with how do you make a simple 2D object, game object. So let's first import new asset. Of course in 2D things, in 2D games, the game objects are always images. So let's go to the pictures and let's import a simple object like this car. Okay, here it is. Now it is an asset. We can use it in to be our game object. As I told you previously that in Unity2D, the game objects, the things that we interact with or play with, are called sprites. So sprites are basically just images that we do some tweakings of physics and some controlling to make them feel like okay, now this is a car and it's moving, but the main thing is that they are all just simple images. Now this is a car image and it has some of its properties around here. So just let's drag it and put it over here. So you can see that we have our car image game object created right here. Now if you click on this car, you can see there are 2 main windows under the inspector. The first one is called Transform. The Transform window is always there with a game object, whether it is our main camera or it is a car or any other object. Basically this is the basic and the most fundamental component for any game object, because it tells you the position of X coordinate, Y coordinate and Z coordinate. The position is basically where the car where the game object is placed in our coordinate system. As this is a 2D scene, you can see the values of x and y changing as I'm moving it, but not the z-axis changing. The z-axis will only change in Unity 3D games, and it has not much to do in Unity 2D. There are some complex things to be dealt with z-axis in Unity 2D, but we'll not go into detail about them. So just keep it in mind that this is your 0, 0 coordinates, and as you move it along any direction, now I'm moving it along the x-axis, you can see x is increasing, and if I move it backwards, the x is increasing in negative. If I move it in upwards, y is increasing, and downwards, if I'm moving it, the y is increasing. So it's pretty simple. So the next thing is rotation. The rotation is basically how much the game object is rotated along any axis. You can see that the x-axis is, if we rotate it along x-axis, the x-axis is this axis, the way I'm moving my pointer. See, it is along this axis. So if we have to rotate something about this axis, it will not really show up. Oh, it is, yeah, here it is. Yeah. The only rotation it is right now having is along z-axis. You see, here you go. Because z-axis is the axis coming out of the camera, coming out of the screen towards your screen. So if we rotated the car around that axis, it will move negative and positive like this. So this effect will be used in our games. Now I'm not sure. Yeah, here it is. Now if we move it along y-axis, which is this stick, this one, or my cursor, if I move it, you can see it is moving this way. Okay, not much used in 2D games, but there it is. And along x-axis, it is moving like this. You can consider it like this. This line is x-axis, and it is a barbecue stick, and I'm rotating it, and our car is the barbecue piece of meat or steak. So that's all about rotation. And scaling is just that how many units in around x-axis the car is. Like if I'm going to increase it, you can see it is stretching along x-axis, and if I'm stretching it along y-axis, it is stretching along y-axis. No stretching along z-axis will be seen because there is no z-axis here. Okay, these all things can also be done from here. You can see this. This is for the position that we change from here. You can select this and change the position by just dragging it all over the place. And this is for the rotation. For the rotation, you can just grab one of the two circles. Now this is outer circle, will rotate it along z-axis, as you can see from this here. You can see it is changing, and this circle will rotate it along x-axis, and similarly the third circle will rotate it along the other one. So but in 2D games, I would prefer to rotate the game to rotate the things from here, like give a rotation of 30 degrees or something like that, a discrete or calibrated measures to be taken. Now the next thing is scaling that I told you. Scaling can be done from this icon here. This is for position changing, this is for rotation, and this is for scaling. Now if you want to scale it in all directions at once so that it doesn't look stretchy like this or stretchy like this, if you want to stretch it in all proportions, click the center button and move it like this. You can see that all the values are the same amount, so it is a proportionate stretch. Okay, sorry, give it 1, 1, and 1. Okay, and if you want to stretch any object along one axis, like stretch a car a little bit along this, you can hold of this and move it in or out to change its direction. You can see that the selected object turns yellow. If you select it along x-axis, the x-axis turns yellow, and you know that you have selected the x-axis, and you put it, drag it up and down to see the change. And along the y-axis, you can do this. Here it is. Sorry, this is along x-axis, and this is along y-axis, as can be seen from the inspector transform. So let's just switch it back to 1, 1. Now the next thing is sprite renderer. The renderer is the main thing. It is basically the copy or the thing that is shown on the screen. If you disable the renderer here, the object is there, but it is not being rendered by the camera, so you have to click it. Now let's see how it looks in the game. Okay, the camera, let's select the camera. The camera shows you this boundary, that this is the region of the camera, this is the size of the camera. So if you go to the game shows you this much. We can also maximize these tabs by right clicking on them and clicking maximize, and then minimize them by undo the maximize thing, and similarly that can be done with the scene object. Now, okay, so this is the renderer. The renderer has the image of car. If there was something else given to this image, let's say if we imported a new asset like this home object, and give this, you can see that this is called the sprite. The sprite is the main image that is the sprite made of. If we remove the renderer, there is a game object, but it has no renderer, no sprite. So let's select another sprite for it, and you can see now it is a home. So let's revert back to the car, and this is the color. You do not touch it and change it normally, but you can say that if we change it, the car changes its color. But let's keep it white, as white will keep it to the original image that was there. Now there is this material. We will talk about this later. Let's just keep it to none. Sorry, default, sprite default, yeah, that's it. And then there is a sorting layer and ordering layer. Let's discuss this sorting layer and ordering layer. The ordering layer in 2D games is very important. For example, let's import a background. Let's say we have a background for image for our game. Okay, we have this background and we put it there. Okay, let's scale it a little and make it enlarge. For scaling in all directions, I'm selecting this icon here and dragging by clicking there and dragging it, so it looks like this. Let's go to the game and it looks, let's decrease it a little more. Yeah, here you go. Okay, let's drag it along this direction. Now it fits perfectly. Okay, now you can see the car. Our car is behind the scene, behind the background. Now here the ordering in layer come out. So if we give the background an order of 0 and our car an order of 1, you can see the car coming in front of here. Let's just reduce the size so that it is proportionate. Yeah, here it is. So if we give, the ordering is just like stacking up pieces of paper. For example, this background is a piece of paper. So if you want to put the car above it, you would have to put the car piece of paper above the background. So it means that the car has a number 1 on it. That is what the layering do. If you put it on 2 or 200 or whatever, it will still remain the same. But if you put it 0 or -1 or -200, it will always remain behind the background image. So we will just put a 1, so it will seem that, here it is, it will seem that our car is on the front. Here it is. But if you hit play, it does nothing because no physics has been applied. So let's apply a little bit of physics. First, let's import a new image, a ground. We require a little ground at the bottom. So let's select anything for a ground. Let's select this spike for a ground. Let's put it there, and as you can see, it is very small in size, not seeable, so let's enlarge it. For finding any game object in a scene, you just click on it, like click on a car, and if it is somewhere where you are unable to find it, like it is here somewhere behind the screen, you just select car and come and hover over the scene menu and press F. You can see it takes you to the object that you require. Now here is our car, and here is our spike, and we need to enlarge it a little so that that is enough. Yeah, enlarge it this way. That's perfect. Move it below. I'm not really giving a big thing to the graphics right now because that is not a concern. The physics is a concern, so that would just do enough of it. Okay, now this spike is also has the transform, which is a fundamental component, and the sprite renderer, as I told you before, having all the same things on it. Okay, and here we go. Let's give it an order of 1. As you can see, it has the order of 0, but it is not hiding behind the background because we have placed the background on the scene before, and we have placed the spike after placing the background, so they are both on the same layer. That's why our spike is given a top priority. But if we were to put a spike, if we were to, let's delete this background and put it again there, and let's enlarge it just as a sake of argument, you can see that it is now covering the spike below, and because they are both in the same order. The background has the 0 order in layer, and our spike has the 0 order in layer. But as we put the background after putting the spike game object, that's why it is covering that. So let's just revert the changes. Here it is. Give it our spike an order of 1. Okay, so now we would want to apply a little physics. Let's apply a little physics to the car. So for physics, you would want to just have some gravity on it, and for that you would go to the physics 2D, not to the physics. The physics is for Unity 3D. We would go to the physics 2D for a 2D game object, and we will give it a box collider. Now these are all other things, but we are interested in the thing box collider because it will really be acceptable for a car. It would be covering the entire area of the car, so we are giving it a box collider. For example, if we would have given it a physics 2D circle collider, it would have still covered, but it would have not justify the collider for a car physically. So we would remove this component by right clicking on it and remove component and add physics 2D box collider. There are other colliders there too, but we will teach them to you when it's time. So after that, let's add physics 2D rigid body. Now the rigid body is the main thing. The rigid body is the thing that you would have to apply the physics on any game object, like apply gravity or velocity or anything. So it is a simple thing that if you want to apply physics on any game object, you must have to have a rigid body 2D component. So it has these things that I'm going to go through. It has a mass. It is of 1. Greater the mass, greater the force required to move it or stop it, inertia, and all those things that are in actual physics. Then there is linear drag. Linear drag means that how much it will resist linearly moving or stopping. Drag is just friction, linear friction. And then there is angular drag. Angular drag means that if it is rotating, how easy would it be to stop it. If greater the drag, the easier it will be to stop the rotation. Then there is gravity scale. Gravity scale is simply how much gravity to be applied. 1 means unity, and if you want more and more gravity, you can increase it like this, but we will keep this to 1. And is kinematic means that will it be at a position, will it not be affected, and will it be staying at this position. If you it simply means that if you take is kinematic, it means that the object will not move at all. And then there are some other things that we will not go into detail for right now. So just attaching this physics body, rigid body 2D and box collider 2D. Let's enter play and see what happens. You will see the car will fall out and will go below the screen because there is nothing below, no ground. We have not attached any collider with this ground, so that collider is basically the main thing that we attach with this car. Here it is, the collider. The collider is the main thing that interacts. For example, you standing on a ground, your feet have a collider and the ground has a collider. When they both meet, it stays you on the ground. If you don't have a collider, you will fall through the ground. In this situation, our car has a collider but our spike doesn't have, so just click the sprite and add component. We go to what, physics or physics 2D? No, we go to physics 2D because we are working in 2D environment, and we give it a box collider because it approximates the shape of the collider here. So now if you play enter, we will see the car. Here you go, you see. Let's replay it. It stops and collides with the surface here. There you go. If you switch to the scene, we can see their colliders interacting with each other. Select them both and you can see their colliders, these green lines colliding with each other, touching with each other, keeping the car from falling down because it is acting under gravity. Now why does our spike or the ground not falling? Because we have not attached any rigid body to it. If we were to attach a rigid body to it, there would be gravity on it and both the car and the spike will fall under the gravity. But as we want the ground to remain intact, we don't want any rigid body to be attached to it and we want it stationary at this point. So we enter play and it goes down like there. So I would want you to see and tweak a little more things, components, and check out with those. Comment below if you want to ask any questions and have come across any problem, because first time when you're going to do this you will be coming across problems, and I will be there to respond to your comments. So make sure to comment below and wait for my next video, and we will be talking a great deal of stuff on Unity and Unity tutorials. Hope it is it has been a good lesson to you and you've learned a lot from it. So stay tuned and subscribe and comment for more help, and comment, I will be answering to your calls. So thanks and goodbye.